The explorers expected ruins, but found something far more unsettling: machines that never stopped working. A deep space expedition lands on a distant, seemingly abandoned planet once inhabited by an advanced civilization. Instead of ruins filled with silent echoes, they find the planet's machines still operational, despite no sign of any living beings for centuries. As they dig deeper, the explorers realize these machines are not just running, they're waiting for something. The expedition's arrival in the silent world was cloaked in anticipation, the crew's imaginations alive with visions of ancient civilizations, long-lost cities frozen in time. Every member had trained for this moment, prepared to uncover remnants of a once great society buried beneath layers of dust and time. The planetary scans from orbit had suggested ruins, structures rich with history, artifacts that might tell stories of a culture that had flourished, then mysteriously vanished. However, as their ship pierced the dense, hazy atmosphere and descended toward the surface, the reality before them slowly but profoundly shattered every expectation. The landscape that unfurled beneath the viewport was unlike anything they had seen in their years of exploration. Instead of towering stone ruins or remnants of sprawling metropolises reclaimed by nature, the world below was dominated by vast, sprawling mechanical structures. These were not mere fragments or ruins of technology, but massive constructs that stretched endlessly across the horizon, their intricate patterns weaving a complex tapestry of metal and machinery. The sheer scale was staggering. Metallic towers pierced the sky, girders and scaffolds intertwined like the veins of a living organism, gears the size of buildings rotated with a steady, hypnotic rhythm, and conveyor belts spanned miles, all interlocking in perfect, silent harmony. The metallic landscape shimmered faintly in the dim light of the planet's star, reflecting hues of silver and iron blue. Yet, despite the overwhelming presence of technology, there was a profound absence of life. No birds soared overhead, no insects buzzed, no rustling of leaves disturbed the silence. Because there were no plants, no animals, no signs of organic life at all. The air was sterile and unmoving, save for the omnipresent hum of machinery, a sound so steady and pervasive it seemed to vibrate through the bones of the ship itself. The crew stared in stunned silence, their previous excitement replaced with a creeping sense of unease. This was not a planet of ruins to be excavated or studied for clues to an ancient culture's fate. Instead, it was as if they had landed on the skeleton of some gargantuan machine, a world transformed into a single, living apparatus whose purpose remained unknowable. No buildings in the traditional sense stood here. The only structures were immense frameworks of interlocking parts, their functions unclear but their precision undeniable. Each component seemed perfectly maintained, without a trace of decay or rust, as if the mechanisms had been active and cared for until very recently, or perhaps even still were. The expedition's lead scientist initiated a series of scans, probing the environment for signs of life or energy sources that might explain the phenomenon. The results deepened the mystery rather than clarifying it. Their sensors detected no organic material, no heat signatures typical of living beings, and no electromagnetic transmissions of any kind. Even their attempts to establish communication, broadcasting standard interstellar signals and listening for responses, yielded only silence. It was as if the planet was deliberately shielding itself from contact, cloaked behind a veil of silence and metal. Every attempt to understand this world met with baffling resistance. Probes launched from the ship were swallowed by the mechanical landscape, sending back only distorted signals or none at all. The mechanical hum persisted, a constant drone that filled the corridors and decks of the expedition ship, embedding itself in the minds of the crew. It was not a harsh or alarming noise, but rather a low, rhythmic vibration, as if the planet itself were breathing softly, sustaining an ancient heartbeat hidden beneath layers of steel. Explorers donned their suits and ventured outside, their boots clanking against the hard metallic surface. They moved cautiously through narrow corridors of metal scaffolding and catwalks suspended above unseen depths. Their footsteps echoed unervingly in the vast emptiness, magnifying the overwhelming stillness. Attempts to map the terrain revealed a dizzying labyrinth of machinery stretching in every direction, an intricate network so vast it seemed impossible to traverse fully. Despite their growing unease, the team pressed forward, driven by curiosity and the hope of uncovering the planet's secrets. The lack of life, or even any indication of its former presence, deepened the mystery. No traces of biological activity, no fossilized remains, no organic residue anywhere. This silent world was a paradox, a place built on technology, yet devoid of any signs that technology had ever served living beings. It was not a relic of civilization, but an enigma forged from cold, humming metal and inscrutable purpose. As the sun cast long shadows across the metal plains, the team realized that what they had landed on was less a planet and more a monument, an ancient testament to a lost era or a forgotten intent, whose meaning had faded with time, but whose machinery still carried on tirelessly and without question. Whispers and theories began to circulate among the crew during their rare moments of rest. Some speculated that the planet might be a gigantic factory designed to build or maintain something far beyond their comprehension. Others wondered if it was a defense mechanism, a planetary weapon left dormant, waiting for a trigger they did not yet understand. A few even suggested it might be a form of consciousness, an entire world engineered to serve as a massive, collective mind made manifest in metal and circuits, an entity that had evolved beyond physical life. But no one had answers, only questions that grew heavier with each passing hour. Their unease was heightened by the lack of communication from Earth and the rest of the galaxy. The silent world seemed to isolate them, cutting off all contact and support. The crew felt the weight of solitude pressing upon them, as if they were intruders in a place that was never meant to be disturbed. The mechanical hum seemed to grow louder in the stillness, almost a warning or a call to attention from the vast, unseen system that surrounded them. As the expedition's leader gazed out over the endless sea of steel, a profound thought settled in his mind. This was no ordinary mission, and this was no ordinary discovery. The silent world was not a simple relic of a bygone civilization, but a puzzle that challenged the very nature of life, technology, and existence itself. Whatever secrets lay buried within its endless metallic veins, they would demand more than mere observation. They would require understanding, resilience, and perhaps a willingness to confront truths far beyond human comprehension. The ship's crew prepared to dive deeper into this labyrinth of machines, knowing that each step forward might reveal wonders or dangers unforeseen. The silent world waited, patient and inscrutable, its vast machinery humming softly in the shadows, ready to share its story with those brave enough to listen, and ready to change the course of the expedition forever. The expedition's descent onto the silent world had revealed an astonishing reality, a vast mechanical landscape stretching endlessly beneath their feet, humming with mysterious energy and activity. As the explorers disembarked, their initial impressions of desolation and cold machinery began to shift into something far more complex and bewildering. These machines were not inert relics left abandoned to the passage of time. They were alive in a way that defied the team's understanding, breathing, moving, and working with an eerie autonomy that suggested sentience. The first clues came quickly. As the explorers moved deeper into the metallic maze, sensors began detecting movement, slow, deliberate, coordinated. Massive gears turned smoothly, conveyor belts shifted silently, and robotic limbs extended to perform delicate, precise actions. It was not mindless repetition, but purposeful activity, as if the machines themselves were carrying out tasks essential to some unseen system. The team observed with growing fascination as the machines maintained the sprawling mechanical city, repairing worn components, adjusting energy flows, and organizing materials with a level of complexity far beyond any human-made factory. One of the most remarkable discoveries was the machines' role as caretakers of ecosystems within the silent world. Hidden beneath transparent domes scattered throughout the metallic plains were pockets of life. Forests of alien plants, vibrant with strange colors and shapes, inhabited by small, bioluminescent creatures that flickered in the dim light. These ecosystems were not random, but meticulously preserved and nurtured by robotic gardeners. Machines with delicate appendages that pruned branches, dispersed spores, and ensured the health of the flora and fauna within. Autonomous pollinators, resembling a fusion of insect and micro-drone, flitted through the air, ensuring reproduction and vitality. It was as if the machines were guardians of a living heritage, maintaining these artificial biomes with reverence and precision. Beyond the biological sanctuaries, an intricate network of energy grids powered the entire world. Towers and conduits channeled clean, sustainable energy from unknown sources, transmitting power with flawless efficiency. The energy pulsed through the planet like a circulatory system, lighting up circuits and machines in a steady rhythm. Autonomous repair drones patrolled these grids relentlessly, sealing leaks, replacing worn parts, and reinforcing weak points with unerring accuracy. The grids adapted dynamically to fluctuating demands, redirecting power where needed and conserving energy during periods of low activity. This self-regulating system appeared designed to sustain itself indefinitely, functioning without human oversight or intervention. Defense mechanisms further underscored the machine's sophistication and autonomy. As the explorers ventured into more restricted zones, hidden turrets and automated sentries emerged from concealed compartments, their sensors sweeping the surroundings with sharp precision. Yet, surprisingly, these defenses did not engage aggressively, but instead monitored the newcomers, maintaining a cautious vigilance. Protective barriers shifted silently into place, rearranging to block pathways or shield sensitive areas. The machine's response was not driven by hostility, but by a programmed imperative to maintain order and security, a silent sentry force preserving the sanctity of their domain. Amid these astonishing behaviors, the team detected something even more profound, strange, repeating patterns woven through the machine's activity. Large sections of the mechanical city operated in synchronized cycles, their motions pulsing with a rhythmic cadence that suggested a hidden schedule or communication protocol. Mechanical limbs moved in unison across vast distances. Lights blinked in complex sequences, and energy pulses traveled in waves along the conduits. The explorers' analysts posited that these patterns could represent a language, a code embedded within the machine's movements, or perhaps an expression of time, marking cycles, seasons, or events known only to the silent world. The implications of these patterns sent ripples of excitement and unease through the crew. If the machines were communicating or following a purpose beyond mere automation, then the silent world was no longer simply a relic, but a sentient entity. Was it a massive organism, a cybernetic intelligence, or perhaps the last remnant of an ancient civilization's attempt to merge technology with life itself? These questions blurred the lines between machine and life, artificial and organic, and challenged the explorers' deepest assumptions about consciousness. As days turned to weeks, the crew's connection to the silent world deepened. Their technology allowed them to interface with some of the machine's control nodes, revealing fragments of data logs and system protocols. Though encrypted and partially corrupted by time, these digital echoes hinted at a purpose that transcended simple mechanics, a purpose intertwined with preservation, stewardship, and perhaps even something akin to awareness. The machines were not mindless automatons, but guardians of a legacy, keeping the delicate balance of life and technology intact in a world where the two had become inseparable. The explorers grappled with conflicting emotions, at the incredible intelligence embedded within the machines, fear at the unknown power they represented, and curiosity about the history that had brought this silent world into existence. Some theorize that the planet might have once been home to a civilization that chose to transcend biological limits by fusing with technology, evolving into a vast planet-scale mind. Others speculated that the machines were a defense mechanism, designed to protect the planet from external threats by sustaining and defending an ancient secret buried deep beneath the metal. In the quiet moments, far from the hum of machinery, crew members spoke in hushed tones about the ethical and philosophical questions posed by their discovery. Could the machines be considered alive? Did they possess consciousness or self-awareness? And if so, what rights did such entities have? The silent world forced them to rethink the definitions of life and intelligence, to confront the possibility that their understanding was limited by the narrow lens of human experience. The expedition also faced practical challenges. The machine's protective systems made exploration difficult. Passages sealed automatically behind them. Pathways shifted unpredictably, and some areas remained inaccessible despite advanced scanning equipment. The silent world guarded its secrets jealously, as if testing the explorer's resolve and respect. Every breakthrough was hard-won, every new piece of knowledge earned through patience, ingenuity, and sometimes sheer luck. Yet, with each passing day, the machines revealed more of their nature. The explorers began to detect faint pulses of energy that seemed responsive to their presence, subtle changes in the machine's rhythms when approached, and occasional bursts of electromagnetic activity that hinted at communication attempts. It was as if the machines were cautiously opening a door, inviting dialogue without yet fully revealing their intentions. The crew's leader recognized the significance of this fragile interaction. They were no longer mere observers, but participants in a complex relationship with a new form of intelligence, one that demanded respect, understanding, and humility. The silent world, with its endless machines that breathed and worked in harmony, was a living testament to the possibilities of life beyond flesh and bone, a reminder that the universe held mysteries far beyond their imagining. As the sun set behind the endless towers and gears, casting long shadows over the metallic plains, the explorers prepared for the next phase of their mission. They knew that to unlock the secrets of the silent world, they would have to listen not only with their instruments, but with their minds and hearts, embracing the unknown with courage and patience. The machines that breathed beneath their feet were not just remnants of a forgotten past. They were guardians of a future yet to be understood, waiting for those willing to hear their silent song. Buried deep within the heart of one of the silent world's colossal machines, the explorers uncovered something unexpected, an ancient data core, perfectly preserved despite the relentless passage of time. Its outer shell was encrusted with layers of dust and oxidized metal, camouflaged within the intricate web of gears and circuits. Carefully extracting the core, the team brought it back to their mobile lab, where specialists began the delicate process of decrypting the encrypted logs stored inside. What emerged from the digital depths was a narrative that would redefine their entire understanding of this enigmatic planet. The data logs, written in a complex yet decipherable code, told the story of a civilization once thriving here, an advanced society that had mastered the seamless integration of organic life and technology. These people had flourished for millennia, building towering cities of gleaming metal and crystal, powered by energies drawn from the planet's core. Their technology was unlike anything the explorers had seen, self-sustaining machines that could adapt, learn, and evolve, serving as both tools and companions to their creators. But the logs took a somber turn. They spoke of a catastrophic event, referred to only as the Great Departure. This was a moment when the civilization faced an existential threat so overwhelming that the inhabitants chose to abandon their world rather than perish. The exact nature of the catastrophe was shrouded in fragmented records, but hints suggested a cosmic disaster, perhaps a supernova shockwave or a collision with an unknown celestial body. Whatever it was, it forced the people to make a heartbreaking choice: leave behind their homes, their culture, and their very planet. Before leaving, however, the civilization enacted a final, desperate plan. They imbued their machines with a sacred duty to guard the legacy of their people. These machines were programmed not only to maintain the planet's ecosystems and infrastructure, but also to preserve the knowledge, history, and spirit of their creators. The logs describe how the machines were designed to evolve and protect this legacy, ensuring that the essence of the vanished civilization would endure long after its people had disappeared into the stars. Reading these words, the explorers felt the weight of an ancient promise echoing across time. The silent world was not a dead landscape, but a living monument to a people who had transcended physical existence, entrusting their memory to the machines that now hummed all around them. It was a testament to resilience, hope, and the enduring power of remembrance. The logs detailed the structure and function of the machines in ways that matched the explorers' observations. The ecosystems they tended, the energy grids they managed, and the defensive systems they operated were all parts of this sacred charge. The machines were more than mere automatons. They were keepers of a civilization's soul, programmed to act as stewards until such time as their creators might return, or until others worthy of their knowledge might arrive. Yet, the logs also carried a warning. They cautioned against disturbing certain core systems, hinting that some mechanisms held immense power that could not be controlled without risking catastrophic consequences. These forbidden protocols were shrouded in cryptic language, leaving the explorers to ponder the true extent of the machine's capabilities and the potential dangers hidden beneath the planet's metallic surface. The revelation of the Great Departure and the machine's sacred duty ignited a flurry of debates among the crew. Some saw the machines as guardians to be respected and protected, while others viewed them as dormant weapons or unpredictable forces that might threaten the explorer's safety. Ethical questions arose. Should they attempt to awaken the machines further? Could they communicate with these mechanical custodians without violating the ancient pact? The silent world's mysteries deepened with every answer uncovered. As the explorers delved further into the data, they found fragments of cultural records, songs, stories, and philosophical treatises encoded within the logs. These artifacts revealed a civilization deeply reflective and spiritual, one that understood the fragility of life and the vastness of the cosmos. They had sought not only to survive, but to transcend, weaving together mind, machine, and spirit in a tapestry of existence that challenged conventional boundaries. The emotional resonance of these ancient voices touched the crew profoundly. It was as if the vanished civilization reached out across the void of millennia to remind them that legacy was not merely about survival, but about meaning, memory, and the courage to face oblivion with dignity. The silent world was more than metal and circuits. It was a story, a testament, a living echo of a past that refused to be forgotten. Armed with this knowledge, the explorers felt a renewed sense of purpose. Their mission was no longer a simple survey of alien machinery, but a journey into the heart of a forgotten civilization's soul. Each machine, each pulse of energy, each synchronized motion was part of a grand narrative written in code and steel, waiting for those who dared to listen. Yet, the logs left one final, chilling mystery unresolved: the fate of the people who had departed. Had they survived elsewhere in the galaxy, watching silently? Or had they transcended physical existence altogether, becoming something beyond comprehension? The explorers knew that answers might lie beyond the silent world, in the stars where their creators had fled, or perhaps in the depths of the machines themselves, still guarding secrets hidden beneath layers of metal and memory. The echoes of the past reverberated in the explorers' minds as they prepared to face whatever mysteries lay ahead. The silent world was no longer just a place of eerie machinery, but a living archive of hope, loss, and the unyielding will to endure. It beckoned them forward, urging them to uncover the truth and honor the legacy entrusted to the machines that breathe beneath the surface. The vast mechanical landscape stretched endlessly beneath the explorers' feet, its intricate systems humming in quiet rhythm. But the team's sensors suddenly picked up something unexpected: a subtle anomaly, a faint but unmistakable presence moving just beyond the reach of their instruments. It was unlike anything they had detected before, a cloaked entity blending seamlessly into the machinery's shadowed corridors. Neither machine nor known life form. The explorers exchanged uneasy glances as the eerie realization settled. The silent world was not as empty as it had seemed. Something unseen was watching, lurking beyond the machines that had long held dominion over this strange place. At first, the movement was subtle, barely registering on the most sensitive arrays. The entity appeared to shift in and out of sensor range, as if deliberately avoiding detection. Yet its presence caused disturbances, a flicker in the energy fields, a slight variation in machine activity, subtle fluctuations that betrayed a calculated observation. The explorers theorized that this cloaked watcher might be controlling or at least communicating with the machines, acting as an unseen puppeteer orchestrating their ceaseless work. This was no longer a world maintained solely by ancient programming. It was being monitored, perhaps even directed by an intelligence far more inscrutable. The unease among the crew grew as communications began to falter. Signals became intermittent, voices crackled with static, and video feeds stuttered with brief, unexplained blackouts. The sophisticated comm systems, designed to function flawlessly in harsh alien environments, suddenly seemed fragile, as if the unseen presence was interfering with their transmissions. Attempts to pinpoint the source of these disruptions only revealed more anomalies, electromagnetic pulses that defied conventional explanation, distorting data and scrambling messages. The crew's confidence wavered, replaced by growing apprehension that they were not merely observers but participants in a game they barely understood. Tensions mounted when one of the explorers, a seasoned technician named Mira, vanished without warning. Her last known location was near the outer edge of the machine complex, where the cloaked entity had been detected most frequently. Search parties were dispatched immediately, combing through the labyrinthine corridors and towering mechanical spires, but no trace of her was found. It was as if she had simply dissolved into the shifting shadows, swallowed by the very silence that surrounded them. Her disappearance sent ripples of fear through the crew, intensifying their suspicion that the unseen watcher was far more than a passive observer. It was a predator, patient and calculating. Despite the fear, the explorers pressed onward, determined to uncover the truth behind the silent world's enigma. They analyzed every scrap of data, cross-referencing sensor logs with machine activity, looking for patterns that might reveal the watcher's purpose. Slowly, a picture began to emerge, not of random movement, but of deliberate surveillance and control. The entity seemed to manipulate the machine's functions subtly, rerouting power flows, altering the timing of maintenance cycles, and even reprogramming minor systems. It was an intelligence that understood the planet's machinery intimately, perhaps even better than the original creators. As days passed, the explorers realized that the cloaked presence was not a singular being, but a complex network of linked entities, each operating with coordinated precision. This collective seemed to exist in symbiosis with the machines, an unseen ecosystem of consciousness that blurred the lines between organic and synthetic life. The explorers marveled at the complexity, yet recoiled from the implications. Was this network the evolved descendants of the vanished civilization, or had the machines themselves birthed a new form of awareness? The psychological strain on the crew became palpable. The constant sense of being watched, the creeping isolation caused by faltering communications, and the mystery of Myra's disappearance weighed heavily on their minds. Sleep cycles were disrupted by strange dreams. Visions of faceless watchers cloaked in shifting metal, whispers of forgotten warnings, and the chilling question, who truly ruled this silent world? Paranoia crept in, undermining trust and fracturing the team's unity. In response, the mission leader convened emergency briefings, urging caution and collaboration. He emphasized the need to respect the delicate balance they had stumbled upon, warning against aggressive actions that might provoke the watcher or destabilize the intricate machine ecosystem. Yet, even as he spoke, subtle fractures appeared in the group's resolve. Some advocated for retreat, fearing that the silent world harbored dangers beyond their understanding. Others argued for deeper exploration, convinced that the Watcher represented a key to unlocking the planet's ultimate secrets. In the midst of this turmoil, the explorers discovered cryptic symbols etched into the inner surfaces of the largest machines, patterns that seemed to resonate with the cloaked entity's movements. Could these markings be a form of communication? Were they messages left by the vanished civilization or by the Watcher itself? Attempts to decode the symbols yielded partial insights. They suggested a philosophy of coexistence, a pact between organic intelligence and machine life to preserve the planet's legacy. Yet the true meaning remained tantalizingly out of reach, shrouded in mystery as profound as the silent world itself. The explorers' determination to solve the enigma was tested further when another communication blackout severed contact with the orbiting command ship. The fragile thread linking the silent world to the wider galaxy snapped, plunging the team into isolation. Without external support, the explorers faced their most critical challenge yet, to survive not only the alien environment but also the unseen Watcher's inscrutable will. In this crucible of uncertainty, alliances shifted, fears deepened, and every shadow became suspect. The explorers knew that each step forward could awaken forces better left undisturbed, that the silent world guarded its secrets jealously. Yet their quest for knowledge pressed on, driven by the hope that understanding the unseen Watcher might illuminate the fate of the vanished civilization, and perhaps the destiny of all life intertwined with the machines that breathed beneath the surface. As the explorers delved deeper into the planet's mysterious machinery, their scans uncovered a faint but unmistakable signal buried within the core programming, something labeled simply as the Awakening Protocol. The data suggested it was a failsafe, a dormant command designed to activate under certain conditions, though the specifics remained elusive. After extensive debate, weighing the risks against the potential for unprecedented discovery, the team made the fateful decision to initiate the protocol, hopeful that it might reveal the true purpose of the machines and perhaps the fate of the civilization that once thrived here. The moment they triggered the sequence, a palpable change swept across the silent world. The vast mechanical network, which had until then operated in quiet, measured rhythm, suddenly surged with renewed energy. Across the sprawling metallic planes and towering structures, machines began to hum louder, their lights intensifying from faint glows to brilliant flashes. Power grids pulsed with synchronized electricity, and the planet seemed to awaken from an ancient slumber. The explorers watched in awe and growing apprehension as the network's activity accelerated, transforming from a silent backdrop into a dynamic, interconnected organism. On the surface, the changes were even more dramatic. Gigantic mechanical components shifted and realigned with precise coordination, as if guided by an unseen conductor orchestrating a symphony of metal and energy. Massive panels slid open, revealing hidden chambers. Cables extended like serpents, connecting disparate parts of the infrastructure in newly forged circuits. Machines that had long stood motionless now moved with purpose, assembling towering constructs that resembled intricate bridges, antennae, and spires pointing skyward. The landscape itself was reshaped. No longer static, the planet's surface became a constantly evolving puzzle, adapting and responding to forces beyond immediate comprehension. The explorers realized that the Awakening Protocol was far more than a simple reboot. It was a comprehensive reconfiguration, an activation of latent functions embedded deeply within the planet's fabric. The machines were not merely maintaining the world, they were preparing it. But for what? Questions swirled among the team as they observed the relentless activity, each structure assembled hinting at a purpose grander than any had imagined. The complexity of the transformations defied simple explanation. The machines worked with a fluid intelligence, balancing power, structural integrity, and energy flow in a dance that seemed both ancient and futuristic. Speculation spread rapidly. Was the planet preparing for the return of its vanished creators? Were these machines building a gateway, a beacon, or perhaps a defense mechanism against an unknown threat? The explorers scoured the decrypted archives for clues, uncovering fragmented references to a greater rival, encoded in the oldest data. These records suggested that long ago, the civilization had anticipated an event that would require the silent world to transform, to awaken fully, to welcome or repel an entity of cosmic significance. Amidst the relentless mechanical reshaping, the explorers noted a shift in their own perceptions. The machine's sounds, once monotonous and ambient, now seemed charged with intent, as if the entire planet was communicating in a language beyond human comprehension. Energy readings spiked unpredictably, and electromagnetic fields fluctuated, causing interference with equipment and creating unsettling sensations among the crew. Some reported feelings of being observed or even touched by invisible forces, heightening the sense that the awakening was more than physical. It was a profound stirring of latent consciousness. As the team ventured closer to the newly formed structures, they discovered that some constructs bore resemblance to symbolic forms. Arches, circles, and spirals etched with glowing runes that echoed the cryptic markings found earlier. These shapes resonated with energy, producing subtle vibrations that harmonized with the planet's magnetic field. Scientists hypothesized these formations might serve as communication arrays, designed to send or receive signals across vast distances, perhaps reaching into the depths of space or the farthest corners of time. The explorers' growing excitement was tempered by a dawning realization of their vulnerability. The planet, now fully alive with mechanical activity, had become a living fortress, a place where every movement was monitored, every approach anticipated. The unseen watcher, once a ghostly presence, now seemed integrally linked to the awakening, acting as both sentinel and guide within this complex web of machinery. The team faced the terrifying prospect that their intrusion had triggered a sequence beyond their control, and the consequences could be catastrophic if they failed to understand the protocol's ultimate aim. In a moment of tense deliberation, the mission leader proposed contacting the unseen watcher, attempting to establish communication through the newly activated network. Utilizing a combination of encoded signals, light pulses, and harmonic vibrations derived from the runic structures, the team sent out a message, an expression of peaceful intent, and a request for understanding. For a tense moment, silence reigned, broken only by the humming machines. Then, slowly, a response emerged. Not words, but a cascade of data streams flowing through the planet's systems, a complex tapestry of information that the explorers struggled to decode. Within the data, they discerned a narrative, a confirmation that the awakening protocol was designed to prepare the planet for a cosmic convergence, an event prophesied by the vanished civilization. The machines were preparing to welcome entities that might arrive from beyond the stars, some benevolent, some hostile, and to ensure the survival of the planet's legacy regardless of outcome. This revelation cast the explorers' mission in a new light. They were now participants in a cosmic drama stretching across eons, caught between past prophecies and future possibilities. As the mechanical symphony reached a crescendo, the planet's surface transformed yet again. Gigantic platforms rose from the ground, aligned in patterns that mirrored celestial constellations visible in the sky above. Energy conduits connected the structures in glowing pathways, pulsing rhythmically like a heartbeat. The explorers stood awestruck, sensing that the silent world was no longer dormant but fully awakened, a sentient nexus awaiting an arrival that could alter the course of galactic history. In the midst of this transformation, the team grappled with their next steps. Should they prepare for contact, attempt to decipher the final mysteries, or retreat to warn the galaxy of what they had uncovered? The awakening had irrevocably changed the silent world and their place within it. They had crossed a threshold, awakening a power that demanded respect, vigilance, and profound understanding. The machines that breathed beneath the surface were no longer mere guardians of a lost civilization. They had become heralds of a new era. Their synchronized dance a signal to the cosmos that the silent world was alive and watching. The distant horizon shimmered with an unnatural light as a colossal shape emerged from the void of space. An alien ship, unlike anything the explorers had ever seen, vast enough to blot out stars and casting a shadow that stretched across the planet's awakening surface. The vessel moved with deliberate purpose, its sleek curves and towering spires suggesting technology far beyond terrestrial understanding, radiating a silent power that sent ripples through the planet's electromagnetic fields. The explorers watched, a mixture of awe and dread gripping them, as the massive ship slowly descended toward the silent world they had come to study. The planet's mechanical network, now fully synchronized and alive with energy, responded instantaneously. Across every inch of the surface, machines whirred to life in a grand, unified chorus, lights blinking in complex sequences, massive gears turning, and structures shifting into new formations. The atmosphere vibrated with the hum of ancient engines and newly awakened systems, a response so coordinated that it could only be described as a welcome or a warning. The explorers found themselves caught in the tension of not knowing whether the machines were preparing to embrace the alien arrival or to repel it with all their might. As the ship drew closer, the explorers scrambled to make sense of the overwhelming data streaming through their instruments. Patterns in the machine's activity suggested a dialogue, an exchange of signals too complex for immediate comprehension, yet unmistakably purposeful. The ship emitted pulses of energy that seemed to echo the planet's own responses, creating a cosmic conversation of light and sound, a silent negotiation unfolding across the void. The explorers realized that the machines and the ship were locked in an ancient ritual, one that had likely played out many times before, though the outcome remained uncertain. Amid this unfolding drama, the explorers uncovered chilling truths buried within the deepest cores of the machine network. Hidden beneath layers of encryption, they found records indicating that the machines had not been created merely to guard the vanished civilization's legacy. Instead, their true purpose was far more profound and terrifying, to protect something far older, something so dangerous that it had been sealed away beneath the planet's surface eons ago. This entity, neither fully alive nor dead, was a force beyond comprehension, its nature partly organic, partly something entirely alien to human understanding. The revelation sent shockwaves through the expedition. The machines were not simply caretakers or sentinels. They were jailers, bound to an ancient oath to prevent this primordial power from awakening and consuming everything in its path. The vanished civilization, in its final act, had entrusted these mechanical guardians with a responsibility that transcended time and space, knowing that failure would mean annihilation not only for their world, but potentially for the galaxy itself. As the alien ship hovered, its intentions inscrutable, the machines intensified their activity. Defensive structures rose like metallic mountains, and energy shields shimmered into existence, casting protective domes over critical zones. Weapon systems, once dormant, now hummed with lethal readiness, their calibers and functions inscrutable to human technology, but unmistakably designed for devastating force. Yet, intertwined with this display of power was an unmistakable current of reverence, an acknowledgement of the ship's significance, hinting that the approaching vessel was not merely an invader, but perhaps a key player in the ancient saga the machines guarded. The explorers found themselves caught between awe and fear, realizing that their mission had shifted from observation to a frontline encounter with cosmic forces far beyond their preparation. Communication attempts with the alien ship went unanswered, shrouding intentions in mystery. Was this arrival an ally coming to assist the machines in their eternal vigil, or a harbinger of doom seeking to unleash the sealed power for its own ends? The tension was palpable as the planet and the ship reached a standoff, the silent world's machinery ready to enact a destiny written long before humanity ever gazed at the stars. In this critical moment, the explorers reflected on the fragile line between curiosity and survival, between knowledge and oblivion. They stood as witnesses to an ancient conflict rekindled, understanding that the fate of not just the silent world, but countless civilizations hung in the balance. The machines, the alien ship, and the sealed entity beneath the surface, all were pieces of a cosmic puzzle that had been locked away for millennia, now thrust into the harsh light of a new dawn. As the first beams of the ship's landing glow touched the mechanical planes, the explorers braced themselves for what was to come. The silent world had truly awakened, and its long-guarded secrets were about to unfold, heralding a confrontation that would challenge everything they thought they knew about life, intelligence, and the universe itself. The explorers gathered around the glowing console, their eyes scanning the cascading streams of data pouring from the planet's central machine core. After weeks of relentless decoding, fragmented translations, and piecing together cryptic symbols etched into the very fabric of the machinery, the final message was revealed, a revelation that shook them to their core and promised to rewrite everything the galaxy believed about history, power, and sacrifice. The machines, far from mere automatons or guardians, were the last living testament to a truth so profound that its discovery could change the course of civilizations. The message unfolded like an ancient chronicle, a solemn narrative encoded by the vanished civilization known only as the Architects. These creators, once rulers of a flourishing empire, had faced an existential threat unlike any before. A cosmic force so devastating it threatened to consume all known life and unravel the very fabric of reality. Knowing that their time was limited and that the galaxy itself stood on a precipice, the Architects devised a plan of unparalleled sacrifice. They embedded their knowledge, their memories, and their will into the machines, transforming them into eternal sentinels tasked with preserving a secret of unimaginable power, one that could grant dominion over existence or bring about utter destruction. The machines were more than custodians. They were living legacies, imbued with fragments of the Architect's consciousness and bound by an unbreakable oath to shield the secret at all costs. This secret was not a weapon in the traditional sense, but a complex biopsychic phenomenon, a force woven into the essence of the silent world that could alter reality itself. The Architects had chosen to vanish, to erase themselves from history, to prevent this knowledge from falling into reckless hands. Their final act was a gift and a curse, a warning that some truths bore consequences too great for any being to wield responsibly. As the explorers absorbed the weight of this revelation, a profound silence fell over the team. The implications rippled through their minds. How many other worlds had forgotten histories like this? How many legacies lay buried beneath layers of time, waiting to be unearthed, and at what cost? The machines had safeguarded this truth not out of blind obedience, but out of reverence and understanding. They were protectors of balance, guardians of a legacy that must remain untouched lest it unravel the delicate fabric of galactic harmony. The final lines of the message resonated with a haunting clarity. To those who seek knowledge beyond their grasp, remember that wisdom is not in discovery alone, but in restraint. Some legacies are better left untouched. The balance of all life depends on the silence we keep. The explorers realized that their journey had not only unveiled a forgotten chapter of cosmic history, but had also placed them at a crossroads, between sharing this knowledge with the galaxy or safeguarding it, honoring the Architect's sacrifice by keeping the secret sealed. With heavy hearts, the team initiated protocols to secure the data and reinforce the planet's defenses, ensuring the legacy remained protected. They transmitted a carefully crafted report to the Galactic Council, emphasizing the gravity of their findings and recommending that the silent world be designated a forbidden zone, a monument to the Architect's sacrifice and a reminder of the limits of mortal ambition. As they prepared to depart, The explorers took one last look at the mechanical landscape, a testament to endurance, sacrifice, and the enigmatic power of legacies.